Hey, what's up, everybody? John at Half-Ass Gaming here. So, what am I doing right now? I'm actually making a very brief correction video. As you may remember, we finished with the Allied turn two, and then there was a lot involved in that turn. And one of the things that the peanut gallery erupted with like three things that I was legitimately doing wrong that legitimately would affect the outcome of the game. So I looked into it and I verified everything that they were saying, and in all three cases they were correct. It was things that I was doing incorrectly, and like I said, some piddly ass little shit I would go ahead and pretty much ignore it. But the things that they brought to my attention were pretty integral to combats, and they needed to be fixed, and going forward they will be fixed. So let me basically go real quickly and show you what was talked about. Okay, they brought to my attention, number one, let's talk about, I wasn't doing the halving right. Okay, so let's say you have a unit and it's a six. Okay, so that's easy, you round that down to three, no problem. What if you have a unit that's a three? Okay, so what I was doing, I was going to 1.5 and just rounding it down and to one. And actually, in the rules, it says one, something like, in that case, 1.5 would be rounded up to two. And yeah, that does affect some of the combat odds. And I went through all the combats in the video, and some things actually panned out better for the Allies. A couple instances panned out better for the Germans. And number two, the second thing that I was doing wrong, there were two attacks on strongholds, and they were, I think the outcome was like a D1, and both of the strongholds in question had two steps. So they lost a step, but they were obligated to do a determined defense, because if they retreated, they have zero movement, they're obviously trashed, all right? So, and oddly enough, in both of those circumstances, both of those German strongholds that were obligated to roll for determined defense, they both rolled sixes, okay? And those yielded ALs. Retreat canceled, any one attacking unit. So both attackers actually lost a step in those determined defenses, and the strong points are still with us. Now, the other thing was TQ. TQ. And it does say in the rules that, for instance, I was under the impression that if the defender had a TQ and that was bigger than the attacking unit, all right, or if the defender had a TQ and the attacking unit was a zero, whatever, you get the gist. That does not necessarily, and most of the times does not yield a +1 for the defender. And then also I was using TQs that if the attacker was a +1 and the defender was a -1, that would be 2 instead of 1. So in short, I had to brush up on my halving rules. I had to brush up on my TQ rules. And then I had to brush up on my what happens to a strong point, strong point, in case an A1 D1 pops up, or they take an A1, they're still obligated to do a retreat, which may kill that second step. So, and like I said, well, let me talk about what actually happened. So in both cases, the two strongholds, multi-step strongholds, actually rolled six and killed an allied step. And then we had an area right here where I misjudged the halving on these two attacking this guy. And what they rolled was, the net of that was the defender lost a step. So it increased. I think it was like, I don't know whether it went from a 1-to-1 attack to a 2-to-1. I don't remember that, but I do remember that the Germans lost one of their steps right here. And in another case, right over here with Having and or TQ, I'm not sure, the Allies were able to push this unit. This unit right here was disrupted, but they were sitting up here and they withstood their attack. So this is probably the biggest benefit of me fixing these situations, that the Allies were able to knock these guys back too. They did not. They were a one-step unit. They were on their one-step side. They originally were a two-stepper, and they decided just to retreat instead of try a determined defense. And these guys moved up. So the Allies lost 2 steps. The Germans lost like 1 step. They lost 1 step here. And over here, they were forced to retreat. I think there were a couple of attacks there were 2 or 3 attacks, and the peninsula, nothing changed. So that's why it's not in the picture right now. The attacks on the peninsula were no issues over there, so I'm not even showing them. But over here with the Brits, it was a clusterfuck. So I did fix some things. And hey, man, hats off to the Peanut Gallery, because those 3 things are very important to attacks going forward. You got to know your TQ, you got to know your Having, and you've got to know the ins and outs of determined defense. Okay, so thanks to you guys. Like I said, the really, really tiny little nitpicky shit that doesn't matter, I'm just going to probably ignore. But those are very important. So my hat's off to you guys, and we'll do it right going forward. I might even actually have to play someone on Vassal in this, now that, I mean, obviously doing this video series is just like getting me up to speed what I used to know in Normandy 40. I feel like I want to play someone on Vassal. So if anybody wants to play live or PVM, hit me up. We can play a game, and it doesn't have to be. It won't be Disaster at D-Day. It will be like a regular game of N44. If anybody wants to play that, I'm about to go out for knee surgery, so I'm gonna have a lot of time. I could play day, night, whatever. All right, so hit me up if you want a game. All right, I'm John. You guys take care. I'm looking forward to starting turn 3, that all-important weather roll. I might do that tomorrow, but this is the correction video. I'm glad that this was done to make things more reflective of how shit should actually be. All right, thanks for that. Take care. Bye-bye.